Chapter 7, Life's Lessons. As the men organized themselves the following day, some women looked contemptuously at Abog-Sigun and his men. Saying this, Abog-Sigun became upset and called a meeting. Once everyone gathered on the front lawn, Sabaoth has sent us here to liberate you from your oppressors, and you look upon us as someone who has wronged you. You are free now. Some of you women might find it in your heart to marry some of the men here or elsewhere. You must return to your femininity and not your masculine ways to find such a husband, or else there will be chaos in the household or no household. No household equal no family, which equals no community. This disease will spread to your child, and the cycle will repeat itself for generations to come. In the past, domestic violence was the highest among our people, male to female and female to male. But that's not how it was in our motherland. Well, not until the practice of child marriage and abduction for marriage or ukutwala came into play. You submit to the Anakatas out of fear, but can you submit to our Catilian man with godly love, or do you disrespect him because he can't protect you? Just like many centuries ago. For you know, if he does, his punishment would be death. Can you not say that they designed this system precisely for this and this reason alone? If you knew your history, you would be aware of the past and not follow down the same rabbit hole our ancestors did before us. Or are you blinded by the hatred you have for your men? How do you raise your sons compared to your daughters? I feel your contempt for your men, and it comes out like fire. Even with a smile on your face, your heart and soul spill out this hatred for him. A man must deign himself and submit to God. A woman must do the same for her man. If you can't do so, don't look for a man and learn to live by yourself. We have a man strong woman where I come from, like my mother, a true warrior, but when she married my father, she submitted to him, and they had a happy family because Sabaoth united them. Like we say, you must too. There might come a time when some of you might have to share your husband like in days of old. Boy. Far too many men no want men, and secondly, there are too many women compared to men, but if that's not your thing, deal with your mindset and accept it whatever your decision may be, it is your thinking not his. Whether you choose marriage or not, remain strong to your people. Where I am from, even as Wakatilians, our women have made magnificent accomplishments but still honored their men. They have pitted us against one another too many times in this land. I'm reminded of the unfamed government agency, the Central Intelligence Agency or CIA, which bought drugs and fed them to our communities to fund a war. Just like the government provided alcohol to the natives and created generations of alcoholics who died from liver cirrhosis. Or the team they set up to cope against Kwame Nkrumah, a Ghanaian politician and revolutionary. Many of our people celebrated his death along with others, believing the lies they told us. Years later, NATO killed Muammar Gaddafi, a Libyan revolutionary and politician of one of the most prosperous African nations. Many of our people refused to learn the truth as they celebrated his death. Afterward, they enslaved the people from that land. With all the lies we have seen for centuries, we remain the world's laughingstock and even lack the intelligence to comprehend how far behind we are. We have gone from wars to morons. Is that who we are? All men and women have accomplished a lot in the past, but their lives have blinded us. We have had many prominent men and women, and it always took on a fall to destroy a lifetime of work. For instance, woman like Cathay Williams of Independence, Missouri, was born to a slave mother and a free father. Even though her name was Cathay Williams, she was known as William Cathay, the first African-American female soldier to enlist in the army. Not only that, but she is the only known black female buffalo soldier. Her enlistment was voluntary as a captured slave. They pressed her into serving as an army cook and washwoman, which meant she accompanied the infantry all over the country under the service of General Philip Sheridan, witnessing the Red River campaign and the Battle of Pearl. Job opportunities for newly freed slaves were non-existent. With inequality and lack of access, many had no choice but to turn to military service to afford employment stability, health care, education, and pensions. They did not need any physicals during that time, and only to people knew he was Ashe, a dear friend and her cousin. She performed regular duties like any other man, but it wasn't combat that cut Williams' military career short but smallpox. Her doctor found out she was a woman, and they discharged her. Dressing as a man. Again she signed up with the All-Black Regiment, the 39 US Infantry, which would eventually become a part of the legendary Buffalo Soldiers. Fighting skirmishes with Native Americans, escorted vulnerable wagon trains, built forts, mapped territory, and protected with settlers, all with little to no equipment. Her service brought about her poor health. Her toes were amputations from diabetes, and she suffered from neuralgia, deafness, and rheumatism, which forced her to apply for a military disability pension. But she didn't qualify, not because she was undeserving, but because she had posed as a man. Hundreds of years before her was Queen Amanirenas Uho, at the death of her husband, Emperor Teriketas, took over the throne in the kingdom of Kush. She became one of the most well-known female rulers of the ancient world. She was the most famous Kandake out of the 4 female queens who ruled in Kush. She was known as the Queen with one eye, which she lost in one of her furious battles. She was known for her war tactics and ability to negotiate treaties with the most powerful male ruler of them all, Augustus Caesar. The Roman Empire had already expanded and conquered various territories, such as Britain and Cleopatra's Egypt, and started pushing the southern borders of Egypt into Kush, threatening the Nubians. She led multiple attacks with thousands of soldiers into Roman territory and dethroned statues of Emperor Augustus Caesar. To show her distaste for the emperor, she beheaded a statue of him and buried it under the entranceway of her palace so everyone could walk over her enemy. She even fed her captives to her pet lions. The constant conflict between Kush and the Roman Empire led to Kandake or Queen Amanirenas sitting at a negotiation table with Augustus Caesar. A treaty between them led to the Kushites being free from Roman rule for 300 years. Abok Sigun Pau said, "My dear sisters, I'm not here to bring you down but lift you. To lift you, I must rebuke your way of thinking because it takes a man and a woman to create a community and this single mother thing has to stop. We are not treating kings and queens but hoes and bastards. I am not only blaming you but a mentor. Two wrongs don't make a right. We are all hurt from each other's pain that we have caused on another. Aboksegun saw a young boy paying close attention as he held his neck stretched upward to see him. Pointing at the boy, "What's your name, young man?" The boy pointed at himself, "Uho, me." Aboksegun smiled, "Yes, yo." The boy smiled, "Jajai." Aboksegun sighed, "Well, Jajai, I say you are paying attention, so I will sit so you won't get a crock in your neck." Aboksegun sat down on the porch, as he was saying, "Since we have been in this land," they sighed continuously, "stop complaining, for that was a long time ago, when it was only 10 years since Jim Crow and reddening. Then they repeated it when it was 25 and even 50 years since the inequality, but it persisted with systemic racism in every direction. They called Usmani names in this land, but did you know the word Christian was used in the same context as those who believed in Msheka? All this took place many centuries ago, and we still are slaves to our oppressors. Sure, there was a break for centuries when we lived on our own and in peace, but the Albanians came and repeated the chitle on a more time. To hold us down and brainwash us from the reality of who we are, the chosen people of Sabaoth. We are called mestizos back home because we are united as one. Anakatas, computans, and wakatilians. But these names mean nothing to us as far as it is concerned with Sabaoth, but here on this planet, in this world, it means something to label on self as if to show superiority, not identity. Instead of just telling the truth and admitting their wrongs, our past government and this regime used things like a critical race theory, which is nothing more than lies. However, back then, we were not labeled as Anakatas, computans, and wakatilians but bicolors, red, brown, yellow, and of course, black and white. With his African Atlantis theory, White Menlike Leo Frobenius created more division and madness between us to ease their conscience. With its rage, that division grew into what we are today. How many of you know that the Wakatilians enslaved the computans and Anakatas during the Mali Wagadu Empire? Back then, we had what they called griots. Griots were traveling poets, musicians, and storytellers who maintained our tradition with oral history. Griots were just like the Native American tribal elders, African Alkebulan, or wise men who were not known for writing, especially not reading. These people told us our history, but that's another story. In getting off subject, around this time, according to the griots, Mali and the Wagadu Empire accepted the Muslim way of life. Slavery became a lifestyle in places like Gao, Kano, Tekrur, and Timbuktu at the peak of the trans-Saharan trade. Commercial interactions between the Arab world of North Africa and the Persian Gulf and Sub-Saharan Africa and the leading trade were gold and salt. Gold was abundant in the western part of Africa but scarce in North Africa, bringing about riches and foreign cultures. This young ideology of Islam brought a steady flow of slaves from the Mediterranean to North Africa and West Africa to the Arabian Peninsula. Muslims in North Africa enslaved 1 million or more Anakatas and computans. The earliest known contact between Greece and Africa occurred in the Bronze Age when the Minoans began to trade with Egypt. The first narratives mentioning great connection with Africa are in the Homeric poems. Slavery was widespread in the ancient world. It was found in almost every ancient civilization, including the Roman Empire. It became less common throughout Europe during the early Middle Ages, although it continued to be practiced. Christians and Muslims captured and enslaved each other during centuries of warfare in the Mediterranean. Islamic slavery encompassed Western and Central Asia, Northern and Eastern Africa, India, and Europe. However, the trade of humans by the Arabs lasted 1,000 years, even before the European transatlantic slave trade. While the European transatlantic slave trade was racial, the Arab slave trade was about religion and the economic gain that came with it wrote laws concerning enslavement, and these laws were taken seriously. Many West African groups embraced the Arabian Peninsula's belief system to avoid capture and enslavement. For the kings and princes of West Africa, becoming a Muslim meant that the markets of the Mediterranean were open to them, and alliances with the chief Muslim civil and religious leaders, whom they regarded as the successor of Muhammad in Arabia. Slaves from Europe and Africa were given as homage, and some slaves were even sold to the rulers, kings, and princes from North Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Mali Empire. The enslavement of Europeans broke into North Africa, and the Arabian Peninsula was expected, and slavery was so intense that most of the coastal towns in Europe were vacated. Most of the enslaved, captured by the Varangians and Vikings, were sold to the Arabs or Jewish merchants from Cordoba, who were Europeans. Mulai Ismail of Meknes, Morocco, had 25,000 European slaves who had taken part in building his stables. The Mamluk ruled Egypt, while Mansa Suleiman ruled the Mali Empire after the death of Mansa Musa. The Africans and Arabs in southern Europe introduced gunpowder into Europe, even though it came in from China through the Silk Routes during the incursion of Genghis Khan, which gave birth to the invention of firing sticks, which later were called firearms or guns. A man named Lanzo approached Abu Sigun. So, you're saying the Muslims treated our dilemma. I have you know, I'm Muslim. Before Abu Sigun could say a word, Lanzo interrupted him. Allah searches the heart of men and says if it's true. And the man walked off. Abu Sigun shook his head and continued, Europe had developed this technology to protect Europeans against Europeans in the barbarian tribal wars that stretched into the Middle Ages. But during the Renaissance era, when Europe broke away from the dire conditions of the Dark Ages and most of Europe had degenerated back to primitive life after the fall of the Roman Empire. Nationalism. United Europeans scattered tribal groups under the Papate, and Pope Nicholas wrote a papal bull declaring all Moors, Saracens, and non-Christian, black-skinned people to slavery. The Moors in Spain surrendered their castles, with Spain claiming more of the Moorish territories. The persecutions that followed were so much so that the new Sultan of the Ottoman Empire had to send ships to escort fleeing Jews to settle in his conquered lands. By this time, Columbus had stumbled on America's islands while seeking a western ocean route to Asia because the Ottomans had already taken over the Silk Routes in the east. The Africans in Spain were the first group to be shipped as slaves to the Americas from Spain. Next in line were the West Africans who were craftsmen, sailors, blacksmiths, masons, planters, traders, fishers, goldsmiths, aides to the plantations of the Americas. Jajai asked, 10. What is the difference between slavery and human trafficking? Abok Sigun smiled and sighed, human trafficking is when Someone is moved from one place to another for enslavement. Slavery is the exploitation that happens when they arrive. Abok Sigun, out of breath, but il finish by saying, but I need you to look up tese people and more such as iware I te great, nat love, Lois Barikfal, kama I of Bechuanaland, Changamire Dombo of the Rosy Empire, and Johannes Eve of Ethiopia. Jajai raised his hands. Abok Sigun pointed at him. Yes. The little boy sighed. Ho. Confused, Abok Sigun sighed to him. Ho what? Jajai sighed. How do we find this information? We don't have a box, and I don't know how to read. Abok Sigun was surprised. We'll fix that. Because there is an African proverb that says, knowledge is a garden. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. So, the people asked him questions, and he answered them all day. As the sun set, they started building a bonfire, and Abok Sigun talked as his father. But he also remembered how his father had to repeat himself repeatedly for the new people who came along, so he asked Oldone, how do we get to go to the other side so it can teach Tose? Oldone sighed, you ask the impossible, for that place is not heaven, and Lord knows how long we will be here before Someone comes along and figure out that we're not supposed to be here. This side of the wall is heaven compared to the ghetto. And I'm sure that you will be disappointed and angry as well. Just give us time to build what we have, and we need to discuss the matter with the general and the major before we can even discuss that part anyways. Abok Sigun looked at Oldone, we were not sent here to be cowed. Oh, ye of little fight. Take the abre with you, set up a meeting ASAP, and get back to me. Lanzo walks up to Abok Sigun, you speak to tese people as they understand you. Tese girls were treated like dirt before they were 15 and as like sex work is a profession. The boys also have been introduced to sex at an early age. When these girls are tired of acting or being treated like horses, these same boys become men and refuse to marry any of them. These old lonely ass women no want marriage but are treated like poison ivy. Marriage among us is less than 1%. They grow old and lonely, and the men usete. Straight walkers as toys if they get a chance to grow old and hardy anyone around here believes in marriage. Lanzo walked off, and Abok Sigun asked, who is he? They replied, the tones fall. Abok Sigun was saddened, the prophetess Akila Malek sighed, Elohim treated nature and man in perfection, so how did we get to the current state of the generation we are in? This was not God's plan. Evil is a glitch in an otherwise perfect plan. To correct this, you must remove the evil or change the plan. Or what you will have is a perfect evil plan. Calvary removed the glitch and saved the plan. At the same time, Abok Sigun was speaking black and hound as akunsimbel, akutukananu, and the abre. But Oldone senses his desires and immediately stops them by entering. Black and hounds mean, don't you dare, hound. Too much is on the line to throw it away behind blind lust. Black and hound chuckles to himself, you are a truly father Methuselah. Hetakles. Oldone looks directly at Black and Hound. These girls have gone through hell. All three have been abused and have no control over their powers that can destroy whole continents. Blackhound says, so we not awaken those powers further. This is war. Oldone toyed with his mind, making it so Blackhound wasn't watching where he was going as he walked toward a bonfire. Oldone snapped viciously at him. You will stay away from these girls, or I will make you a true Blackhound. Blackhound realizes his boats have caught fire. He jumps up immediately, screaming and patting his boats quickly, trying to extinguish the fire. Akutukananu notices Blackhound's boats catch fire and pulls moisture from the air, forming a blob of water that she drops directly on top of Blackhound. Relieved that the flames have been extinguished, Blackhound stands up and walks off, embarrassed. What happened? Akunsimbel says. He got too close to the flames like a doomfall. Sis. Akutukananu says. Akunsimbel nods in agreement. After the incident, the Abre gets up and walks after him. Bre? Where are you going? Akutukananu asked. The Abre looks back at Akutukananu, says nothing, and goes after Blackhound anyway. Bre. Before the Abre walks into her father's former home. Oldone enters her mind yet again. Don't the Abre. Oldone words phrase the Abre in plaque. She grabs both sides of her temple. Get out of me head, Oldone. You're not me. Father. I don't have to listen to you. She yells out loud. From a dark distance hallway, Blackhound notices the Abre talking to herself. He grins to himself and slowly steps out of the shadows. Dead man talks to you as well, sighed Blackhound. The Abre jumps at the sound of Blackhound's husky and smooth voice, and she nervously replies, it's nothing. I was coming to say. He interrupts her. What trouble you can get yourself into? Blackhound finishes her sentence. Me. There. Girl. He closes the distance between him and the Abre. The Abre is struck with fear as she stares into Blackhound's ember-hardened eyes, which the moonlight glistens off, revealing the flecks of gold studded throughout his iris and pupil. She backs up slowly into a wall. The Abre's heart is tugging out of her chest. Blackhound is close enough that their lips could touch. He rests his rigged forearm against the wall above the Abre's head. Do you like being this close to danger, girl? She nervously replies, I've been close to danger and in danger before. You do not scare me. Blackhound is amused by the Abre's bald-fatted lie and her honesty at the same time. He pulls a blade out quickly and holds it to the Abre's left jugular vein. He was testing the fear in her. The Abre holds her breath and closes her eyes tightly. She squeals, knowing indeed that Blackhound would kill her. But he doesn't. He leans closer to the left side of her head and sniffs her hair to familiarize himself with the Abre's scent. Blackhound smiles as he thinks about the words of Abu Sigun and walks away. The old man and that kid are rigged, you know. Go back to the bonfire. Blackhound's hair blows in the wind as he disappears into the shadows of the hallway. The Abre is breathing hard and feeling all of her emotions rushing through her. She leaves the Times house and returns to the bonfire, where Abu Sigun finishes his speech. She sits next to Akutukananu, who looks at the Abre suspiciously but says nothing.